Well, welcome to the 700 Club. Israel is concerned that it could be facing a new threat because Iran may be building weapons in Lebanon to attack the Jewish state.
Earlier this week, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow as part of his high-stakes geopolitical chess match to keep Israel safe. Chris Mitchell brings us the story from Jerusalem.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu took to Twitter to explain why he went to Moscow and met with Putin.
I just finished good and intensive talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin. I told him Israel views seriously two developments. First, Iran's attempt to establish itself militarily in Syria. The second, Israel's attempt to create in Lebanon precise weaponry to be used against Israel. I made it clear to him we won't agree to any one of these developments, and we will act as needed.
Netanyahu's meeting was followed up by an article by an Israeli general. He said Iran is turning Lebanon into one big missile factory while the international community looks the other way, and warned the people of Lebanon they've become pawns in the hands of Iran. He wrote the ordinary citizen will be mistaken to think that this process turns Lebanon into a fortress. It is nothing more than a barrel of gunpowder on which he, his family, and his property are sitting. 1 in every 3 or 4 houses in southern Lebanon is a headquarters, a post, a weapons depot, or a Hezbollah hideout. We know these assets and know how to attack them accurately if required.
Right now, Lebanon is effectively a fully owned franchise of Islamic Republic of Iran.
Many Mideast observers like Jonathan Spire, the author of Days of the Fall, a reporter's journey in the Syria and Iraq wars, feel that Lebanon no longer controls its own destiny.
What it confirms is just the extent to which today Hezbollah and the other clients of Iran have effectively swallowed up Lebanon. That's to say, from originally constituting a kind of state within a state in Lebanon, they have now, as of recent months, effectively swallowed up the real state.
The general's article is just one of the latest warnings by Israel that the next war with Hezbollah will not be like the last one.
This won't be like it was in 2006, a little kind of border skirmish or series of skirmishes between the Israel Defense Forces and Hezbollah. No, this will have the dimensions of a state-to-state conflict. From Israel's point of view, Hezbollah and Lebanon today are the same thing, and if war comes again, therefore it will be a war between the state of Israel and the state of Lebanon this time around.
It remains to be seen if Lebanon, Russia, and the international community will heed the warnings by Israel. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, this is definitely a time to be concerned about the Middle East, as if that's something new. The turmoil in Lebanon goes back to when Jordan kicked the Palestinians out in 1972. Lebanon at that point in its history was known as the jewel of the Mediterranean. Beautiful capital in Beirut, very advanced culture, and things were really good. You add to that mix radicalized Palestinians, and suddenly it turned into war, prolonged civil war. And then Hezbollah has emerged from all of that, and they are directly funded from Iran. Now, Iran wants to create the Levant. You saw the map in that package, and that's what they're all about. They want to see the Levant come back into being. So for their purposes, the border of Iraq, the border of Syria, the border of Lebanon are meaningless. These are all countries created by the League of Nations following World War I, and they don't recognize them. So are we dealing with proxy wars? Yes, but in the future, could we see not just would it be a state-to-state war, Israel against Lebanon, but a state-to-state war, Israel versus Iran? And that is a big deal, and that is something for all of us to pray about. In other news, the Republican memo about government surveillance of the Trump campaign could be released today. Wendy Griffith has that story from our CBN newsroom. Wendy?
That's right, Gordon. President Trump intends to clear the way for the publication of the classified memo. It was written by congressional Republicans. They accuse the FBI of abusive surveillance tactics during its investigation into the Trump campaign and Russia. President Trump today called the FBI and Justice Department biased. He says they acted in favor of Democrats and against Republicans. A former Kansas governor and senator was officially sworn in Thursday as the U.S. ambassador at large for international religious freedom. Our Eric Rosales spoke with Sam Brownback about he plans to promote religious liberty around the world.
From the beginning, America has been a place that has cherished the freedom to worship. Sadly, many throughout the globe do not enjoy that same freedom. But the new ambassador at large for international religious freedom, Sam Brownback, hopes to change that.
We've got several key places that there are really big problems in right now. Northern Iraq, there is a genocide taking place against the Yazidis and the Christians. We have made that declaration. People know what's going on. There's no reason that we really shouldn't be all over this and put this back down.
Ambassador Brownback says America's promotion of international religious freedom demands standing up for the rights of the world's most vulnerable populations. He says ISIS continues to target members of multiple religions and ethnicities for rape, kidnapping, enslavement, and even death. And Brownback says with this Trump administration behind him, those atrocities must and will stop.
If you want more security and less terrorism in your country, have more religious freedom. It is a byproduct, it's a fruit of religious freedom, is more security and peace. It's in all the data, and now we need to spread it to all the world.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Brownback was sworn in by Vice President Mike Pence. President Trump first nominated Brownback for the ambassador's post last July, but Democrats opposed his appointment. He was confirmed for the position after senators voted 49-49, with Pence breaking the tie, something the vice president reminded him during the swearing-in event.
And that's why it was a particular honor for me as well to cast not one but two tie-breaking votes to see Sam Brownback confirmed by the United States Senate.
Yeah, not many people have that distinction of having the vice president vote for him twice for the same job. But I did, and unfortunately, there's just so much partisanship here in Washington. This is a bipartisan topic, religious freedom, but things have just gotten so testy here that even a position like this draws a lot of partisanship.
At the end of his speech, the ambassador said that he wants to see the expansion of religious freedom around the globe. A fight for the voiceless. A fight that God will bless. From the White House, Eric Rosales, CBN News.
Thanks, Eric, and congratulations to the new ambassador. Well, President Trump highlighted how terrible life can be in North Korea this week. He honored a defector who suffered horribly in that country. CBN News talked with that defector about his faith. Jenna Browder has that story.
One of the highlights of the president's State of the Union speech came when the president honored North Korean defector Ji Sung-ho, who responded by standing up on his prosthetic leg and thrusting his crutches over his head. Why did the double amputee who almost starved and was tortured by North Korean authorities do that? It was for his family, most of whom also escaped, his translator told CBN News.
The North Korean regime, there was a lot of oppression to prevent them from leaving the country, but they ended up leaving, escaping, and ended up surviving, and he raised his crutches as to symbolize victory.
President Trump talked about Ji's torture after he'd been in China.
His tormentors wanted to know if he'd met any Christians. He had.
Those Christians made him realize a universal truth.
There is someone else outside the world that sympathizes him and loves him, unlike the North Korean leader.
This man who used to live just to survive now testifies of his faith.
After he got to know God, his life just changed significantly, and he says now he's living for spreading love.
President Trump told of that moment. Ji, as a starving boy, was almost killed by a train in 1996 as he was trying to get some coal to exchange for food.
He passed out on the train tracks exhausted from hunger. He woke up as a train ran over his limbs.
Trump also spoke of Xi's siblings.
His brother and sister gave what little food they had to help him recover and ate dirt themselves, permanently stunting their own growth.
Xi said their health is now good, but those were horrid times.
They used to suffer so much, like they had to eat like grass on the ground and sometimes just digging trash for food.
Xi eventually escaped North Korea on a long journey on his crutches, and he looks at Trump's recognition as just one of many God moments in his life.
God has been providing him many opportunities to do good works through him.
Jenna Browder, CBN News, Washington.
Thanks, Jenna. Gordon, certainly one of the most moving moments of the State of the Union.
It's a very moving moment, and wouldn't it be even greater, a wonderful thing, if North and South Korea could come into peace talks, end the conflict, get rid of the demilitarized zone, get rid of all the rhetoric, the threats, the armaments, the buildup, and actually live together in peace. That is something to look forward to.